there once again, people, and welcome to yet another episode of, I guess, Qtest. Yeah, this one is actually going to be for Qtest. This is that early. This is a rather interesting level, people, because unlike every other Qtest level we have seen, this one is its own little custom level, made entirely from scratch. This makes this level one of the earliest levels made for Quake. Yeah. That is specifically one of the first and earliest levels that was a custom level made for Quake. It is a little bit later than, say, the level made by John Carmack, which, interestingly enough, actually works with regular standard Quake. But I guess it's because they had access to regular Quake, while the people here only had access to Qtest, and so that's what, therefore, people designed for. But yeah, that one was made on April 4th of 1996. This one's made on April 18th of 1996, so it's still in April of 1996, and it's the earliest custom level we have seen for Quake. I do not know if there's anything earlier than this, but I've yet to see anything. I've yet to see anything that is, Qtest in the custom level at all. It's made by Steve Larson, who I've never heard of before, and yeah, he's also in the process of making a level editor, and he needed a simple little level to test some concepts, so here it is. It's not much to look at, but it is a non-convex area. There are interior decision nodes in the BSP tree, with a little light show. So yeah, it's basically TWOROOMS. That's the entire name of the level. That's what this is. It's made by Steve Larson, and it's, like I said, one of the earliest Quake levels made out there. Now, to say it's actually a Quake level is a bit of a misnomer, I guess you could say. It's not really a Quake level, because it's made for Qtest. So, if I tried loading this up in regular registered Quake, I would not be able to do such. It would not actually work. If I tried doing the shovelware versions, it would not work. Because this actually has a different version of the BSP file than is found in the final versions of Quake. This was made for Qtest. And so therefore, this is one of the earliest custom levels, but it's not the earliest custom level for Quake, technically, because it doesn't work with Quake out of the box. You can probably convert this one, because it's just TWOROOMS as far as I'm aware. But at the same time, it's not a level that just worked naturally with Quake. So, needless to say, it's a bit different from, say, like Dalius's Tele-X Quake or something like that, which is the actual first level to work with the real registered Quake. This one, on the other hand, is one of the earliest custom levels made for any type of thing like Quake. And yeah, rather interestingly, works rather well. I'm getting distracted because someone decided to spam me. There's been a lot of spam on YouTube lately, and all of a sudden I'm getting spam notifications right at this moment. But anyway, TWOROOMS is rather interesting to look at because it's one of the earliest levels still to have done. And actually, there's even a mention of what seems like an earlier level made by Dalius, of all people. So yeah, actually, this might actually be the second one. Because yeah, first.bsp, which kind of sounds logical, the first level ever made. This is the second level ever made, I guess, which would be TWOROOMS. So yeah, I've yet to see first. And that would be the first custom level anywhere for any Quake-related game, I guess you could say. I don't know what you'd really consider Qtest. It's its own separate entity. It doesn't really fit in with natural, normal Quake. As said, it probably could be converted over. I probably am going to end up converting it over so we can mess with it on a server or something. But yeah, it does not work naturally with Quake. It has nothing to do with regular Quake. It's its own little thing. And it's that little unnatural entity that's just interesting to check out, I guess. So, yeah, with that in mind, let's actually load this little thing up, I guess. Other than that, he gives credit to a bunch of different people like Oliver Montagny, Brian Martin, and Raphael Quintet, who wrote the unofficial Quake specs, making things a lot easier for him. He also gives credits to John Carmack, who writes cool games and helps us figure out how he did it. Also to Brent Creamer, who had the inevitable task of managing the Quake editing list through all these failures. Others he's sure. So he's also asking, is there any way that I don't know of to distribute this without the textures included? Because if you remember, the big thing about when this all was released is that it was distributed in software's textures in the BSP file, which was technically breaking the id Software thing where you can't distribute the shareware. And this is, you can't distribute Quake. And that's basically unenforceable or whatnot because they were saying you couldn't distribute custom levels for the shareware version. But at the same time, how do you exactly stop that unless there's pieces of it for the registered shareware versions of Quake? But yeah, they probably were saying a similar thing for Qtest. And yet here's a level made specifically for Qtest. So someone that's kind of going against what exactly id Software was saying. And yeah, was basically playing it with fire in a way because he was using the id Software textures and had no way to really rip them out. Unlike when Delius did Telex Quake and could do it as just a .map file. At this point, I'm not even sure if compilers even existed. So, needless to say, rather interesting. Let's load this thing up and see what exactly we're in for. I'm not really sure what exactly we're going to be seeing. Is it going to be more than 2 rooms? Is there going to be 3 rooms actually? And even if we have 3 rooms, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Is there going to be any entities in this room? I'm not expecting monsters, but are there going to be any weapons or anything like that? Or is it just going to be 2 solid rooms with nothing in it? I'm not really sure how crazy he went with this one, so I'm kind of curious. Well, that's interesting. Wrong version number. 29 should be 23. But 29 is the regular version. Okay, this is very confusing. Because when I tried loading it up in regular Quake, it seemed to give me errors as well. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to try and load it up in regular Quake. I had tried avoiding doing that and thinking that it was needed for a Qtest. But apparently it doesn't like it in Qtest for some reason. Like I said, I thought this was made during the era of Qtest and all that. But who knows? Maybe he actually made it for the registered version of Quake using the software tools that John Carmack released. He released a little bit earlier when he did that John C99. He released the test stuff so people could actually write levels. So, yeah, we shall actually see if this one works here. As you see, it just gives basically an issue. You know what? I probably should actually kill it so it doesn't auto-exit on me. In the hopes that maybe it'll show what this error is. Because I'm not too sure what exactly is going on with registered Quake. But as you see, it's not working this way either. Like I said, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be using this with. Is it supposed to be the shareware maybe? Maybe that's it. Maybe the shareware. What am I looking for here? 2 rooms. That's it. Mod load B model. Funny lump size. So it's like it was converted over, but at the same time, it's not really made for it. You know what I need to do? I probably need to deconvert it. I think it's because this shovelware tries converting levels over to regular Quake. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, I have noticed that. I believe I've seen it once or so in the past where they tried making a Qtest level into regular Quake. And yeah, that doesn't really work too well. It's not made for regular Quake at all. And because it's a totally different thing, as you see, it has a funny lump size and everything. Converting it over even doesn't work. So even though it's just 2 rooms, it's not going to work if I'm right. But I'm going to actually check it and see actually what's going on. And you'll be coming along for the ride of what's the frustration of trying to get one of the earliest Quake levels working. So, if I look at Qver, whatchamacallit, TWOROOMS.bsp. It says it's for registered, which is a total lie. It's not made for registered in April of 1996. So therefore, what we want to do is make it TWOOROOMS.bsp, and then we want to do 23. That would be the valid version number for Qtest. So now we just convert it over to Qtest. That's all you really need to do to convert VSP files from one version numbering to another. Usually you don't generally need to do that. Usually most things are working with a particular version, and it's kind of tended to keep working with that version. As you see, you can't really convert Qtest levels over to regular Quake. It does not work whatsoever. They're totally different products. And this is kind of what I was trying to drive at and why I'm saying it's not a Quake level. See, I could convert a shareware version over to registered. That's perfectly fine. They're the same entity, same everything. But converting a Qtest level to registered Quake does not work the same. So, needless to say, not something we're really going to be able to do much with, but it has historical interest. So, with that in mind, and basically, yeah, I just converted it over to the Qtest version. It should now actually be working with Qtest. As said, this is basically something I'm not really blaming the original author for, but I'm blaming the compilation I have it with, because the compilation I had it with, I'm assuming modified this file and made it like the wrong version, because it wouldn't make sense for it to be version 29. At the time of release, it had to be version 23, maybe a little bit more recent, like version 24, 25. But it wouldn't have been 29. No way. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's basically this compilation going through and modifying it and making it so that way it doesn't work right. I mean, I guess you can't really say it's modifying too much because it is just converting it over. But as you see, even if you try and convert it over, it does not work. So therefore, this is one of those levels we have to lament about if it does actually have something awesome in it. We're basically never going to be able to play this level in regular Quake. This is basically a historical artifact and nothing more, people. Also, I just tried loading Quake and it seems like it just crashed on me. That's not good. Okay, why is it just crashing? Did I not, like, change every line? Did I just, like, do something? What am I doing? I'm having, like, I'm all of a sudden scatterbrained at what I'm doing over here, people. I had everything so prepared. I thought I had everything ready to go. I was excited to do this type of thing. And then all of a sudden it makes me do all of a sudden a bunch of random stuff that's totally different. That's all, because I had the wrong folder for it. I had changed everything else, but I didn't change the folder where Quake was loading. And so therefore it would just give me an error. Okay, so now we should actually be able to load this thing. Wait, no, I'm loading Quake. I just did all this work for Qtest, and now I'm trying to load in Quake. Amazing. This is what I mean. This is why I hate DOSBots, because now I have to go back into the config file, change everything around to load the right area. It's more tedious than it needs to be. It's not ideal. I definitely prefer the Windows environment of clicking around and navigating that way. And Windows 95 existed, so it's not like we could have totally avoided this. So, needless to say, I cannot wait for Windows to really take hold of these type of games and for us to really be just using Windows going forward. Because this is annoying. This is really a pain to try and go through this and change things constantly around. But anyway, Quake, Qtest should hopefully be working. Let's see if Qtest is actually working right. Okay, so there we are. We have Qtest. And so now I want to do etcquake.config, and I'll load up map TWOOROOMS, which as said, I was trying to keep it special and not load it up prior, just because I wanted to see it with you guys, because this is a rather special occasion. This is one of the first and earliest things ever made for Quake. Historically and everything. As said, this is later than John C99, but John C99 is technically still made by id Software. So this is historically the second level ever made for anything related to Quake that's a custom level. It just, you know, not made for regular Quake. Oh, come on! Wait, did I move it over? I don't think I moved it over. See, this is what I mean. I'm having like every step I do is wrong. I just need to keep fighting with it to get this bloody thing working. I just wanted this to be a special occasion, and now it's all of a sudden turning into me fighting with it, and you guys having to endure me like talking for this long instead of me actually playing the level. I wanted it to actually be a lot more grandiose and more interesting, but yeah, then all of a sudden I have to fight with it just to get it working. And now it's like I just want it to work. Okay, there we are. Exec Quake.cfg. Set way I have it actually there. And look at that, blinking lights. Look at this. We're actually in the level. Hooray! Hooray! I can jump faster at Qtest than I can in normal Quake. Look at this, rapid jumping. Okay, so as you see, I seem to be able to move faster in general. I'm not sure if maybe my cycles are a bit faster than normal. Doesn't really matter because all that's really going on is the lights are turned on and off. But yeah, it feels really, really fast. Holy Jesus Christ, look at that. Okay, something tells me the cycles for this is a bit too fast for Qtest. It's faster in Qtest than it would be in regular Quake for sure. I could slow it down, but it really doesn't matter. The only thing that would change is, I guess, the lights in the middle. You would get it so that way it has like a slower, gradual thing maybe. Maybe I probably should then, shouldn't I? Okay, let's try and get out of this thing quickly because I want to slow down the cycles. Actually, how do you slow down the cycles? Why can't I exit? Yes, I kept typing the word yes. That would explain a lot. Let's see here. Yeah, I've gotten so trained with Qtest to type yes that all I was doing was typing yes over and over. But yeah, there's a way to change cycles. I'm trying to remember like the button that bing, bing, stop it! I'm trying to look for the cycles. Okay, cycle down and cycle up. How do you control F11 and control F12? Yeah, see, I haven't done cycles in so long. It's been something I haven't had to care about with Quake. So, I'm hoping this won't mess up regular Quake. I probably should test it before I do another level. But yeah. Exec Quake.cfg. It seems like it's exec Quake.rsc or whatever. Anyway. If I click control, I fire! This is horrible! So I'm basically going to be wasting all my ammo. Bing! Okay, we just ran out of ammo. And that's also what happens when you run out of ammo. You don't get the ads or anything. You just kind of get, a bing. Okay, this seems about natural level for what it should be. So, this is basically what it should be like. Because if you notice, this is about like the jump speed in Quake. So, yeah, the light show is still not that long or prolonged or anything. It's like it kind of comes on and off for a second. Yeah, there's really not much to this level, people. It's TWOROOMS, as basically said on the tin. But yeah, it's more about the historical interest than anything. But you don't really see any entities in this one. You don't really see anything really of interest whatsoever. So, yeah. I was kind of wondering at the beginning of this if I was going to make a walkthrough for this. Put like a specific page for this one. I'm not sure I will. I probably am just going to put as a reference and say basically that this was a level made for Qtest or something like that on a Qtest page area. But I said really I'm not too big on making like separate things for Qtest. Someone else could if they really wanted to, but I don't really see the big need for it. Especially when there's no entities, nothing really to make a walkthrough for here. It's just kind of pointless. You just kind of hop around between two rooms. So, yeah, that is basically that one. Anyway, I'm really going to be quitting this one, and now I gotta make sure regular Quake is yes, no, exit. I feel dyslexic. I'm getting very confused and just typing the words to get out of this freaking program. But anyway, that's basically one of the historical earliest levels for Quake. Or should I say Qtest. I said, this thing doesn't even work with regular Quake. As stupid as it sounds, because it's just 2 rooms with nothing in it besides a blinking light, it does not work with regular Quake. You'll never be able to play this level in any capacity with regular Quake. Unless there's some sort of converter from Qtest to Quake that I don't know about. But as you just saw, converting it over to version 29 does not solve the problem. It has funny lumps, or whatever you basically can refer to that as. Funny lumps. That's a great way of describing it. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. This seems to have been more of a struggle episode than me really doing much, sadly. It was mostly showcasing a very bare bones level, but it really kind of became more of a disaster than it needed to be. But at least we got to check it out, we got to see it, and you guys got to see some of the frustrations that happen with shovelware, because yeah, if you didn't know what to do with this level and just tried loading it up, you'd be pretty frustrated with this because it doesn't work in any capacity with Qtest or Quake. So, thank goodness we knew how to kind of handle this one and manage it. So, with that in mind, it's been an adventure, and I guess I'll see you all. Thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all next time. I feel very disheveled.